And welcome to my I Love Learning podcast today. If you aren't familiar with my special guest today, you should be after today's call. This is Brian Fielkow. He's not only a leader, he's an entrepreneur, business owner, friend, mentor, and just an all round outstanding human being. And I hope you all connect with him. Brian, thank you for coming on my show today.
So, Gina, it's a pleasure to join you. Thank you so much.
Oh, you bet. You bet. So why don't you introduce yourself more formally and tell the audience who you are and really what you're passionate about?
Absolutely. So, I am currently serving as Acrisure's Vice President, Executive Vice President of Risk Resources. Acrisure is the fifth largest insurance broker in the country. And what I'm doing is building systems to help clients manage risk. And that's one of my passions. I've only been at this, in this business for less than a year. Most of my career has been in operations, leading, running, owning companies. I previously owned Jetco Delivery, Houston-based logistics, trucking and freight brokerage company. We grew that business quite well, sold it. And during that period, I really developed a passion for not just in my business, but helping others build safety culture, optimize their performance. Really, people think that there's something special to safety. It's really all about leadership. The same things that go into a safe organization go into a well-led, profitable company. So helping people achieve that is certainly a passion.
Oh, that's excellent. I'm sure that, going into these organizations and trying to help them really sets kind of a fire under them to want to change. And so I think about Brian inspiring us as business owners, and really inspiring business companies to do better for safety. So, Brian, what do you think, like when you think of inspiration and really what inspires, do you think learning and learning in general? What do you think really inspires people to want to learn, or what inspires you to learn?
Well, what inspires me to learn and to help others is the same thing, is that you always got to be learning and growing. And, everybody that's taught you something sort of becomes in a way, a part of you. And
Oh, I
yeah,
love that.
and then the opposite is true too.
Mhm.
It's about staying relevant. It's about staying connected. You know, I'll never be at retired at the pool in Bermuda shorts, right?
Oh,
This is what gets me out of bed is
uh-huh.
engaging with people, because every time I feel like I go somewhere and maybe help somebody, I always wind up learning. I feel like I learn a lot more than I've ever could possibly give, and that's the generative part of you know what really is my passion.
I got it. Yeah. And I think that's really important for a lot of us business owners and just people in general. I mean, as you grow and you go through your career is to like always continue to inspire to learn. Because at that point when we stop learning, we stop growing, right? And it kind of defines kind of the end, and really learning is forever. And so when you think about engaging, like sometimes people lose that fire to engage or be engaged. What do you think really creates this experience to keep you wanting to grow and learn? You talk about there has to be something that happened or that you think about that makes you want to continue to engage in learning.
Well, I think for different people, it's different
Mhm.
triggers. Okay, but you get to a certain point in your career, and you've definitely at some point probably maybe hit the doldrums, or ask yourself,
Mhm.
you look in the mirror and say, all right, do I still have it?
Mm.
Um, and what gets some people uh, going is that time away, right? That
Mm.
time out. Um, Other people are going to find other things. For me, it's reinventing. I mean, people look at my career, and I'm telling you, it's not a
Uh-huh.
textbook career. Began my career practicing corporate law. Went
Mhm.
to waste and recycling. Bought Jetco. Um, the waste and recycling private company, then waste management, and now I'm back with a larger company. So I've sort of been in different organizations large, small, entrepreneurial, you know, and just learning different things, how different businesses work, and how different people operate. Um, it's fun. It's like you're perpetually a student.
Yeah, that's true. I think as a business entrepreneur, it takes something special, don't you think? I don't know. What was it that gave you the confidence, do you think, to continue on this journey of excellence and excitement and just doing good for the world?
Everybody defines, their own North Star. I think that's
Mhm.
what you need is, um,
Oh, I like that.
is what is it that's your passion? And,
Mhm.
my passion and somebody else's passion may have nothing to do with each other. And that's perfectly fine because you know what, we're all
Mhm.
marching to our own drummer. Um, but I really think, what inspires me, I guess maybe especially at this point in my career, because I've been doing this for a while,
Mhm.
um, is helping other people grow, right? Especially younger people grow, um, and mentorship. Uh, but in terms of learning, like back in the logistics company, back at Jetco or back in the recycling company, my favorite thing was watching people teach each other. I love
Mhm.
the peer-to-peer interaction, um, especially among our frontline employees. I think a lot of
Mhm.
times they've got deep experience, and they want to give it back. They want to teach. But a lot
Mhm.
of times they're not called on.
Mhm.
And the other thing that's always made me just kind of smile and just shake my head a little bit is when you get sort of these homogenous ways of doing things.
Mhm.
I think real learning happens in an organizational setting when you've got, however you want to slice and dice diversity, bring it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Age, gender, race, ethnicity. You bring those diverse backgrounds and diverse perspectives, and every single time I've seen it, that's where the magic happens.
That's excellent. So, do you think then? So, I've been studying authentic learning for decades, and it sounds like if you were to think about authentic learning, if you were to define what that means, what would it mean? Would it mean bringing in those diverse perspectives, or how would that operate in that situation? Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, when you say authentic, in my mind, I guess I would maybe use the word organic,
Mm,
meaning that it's exactly what you just said, where it's peers teaching each other. It's
mhm,
experiential, so it's more hands-on, it's more interactive, it's less classroom. I mean, if you think about a meeting room, it's not the chairs lined up facing the speaker, it's chairs
right.
in a circle. Think about the image of the dynamic of how we learn sitting in a circle or around a table compared to a classroom where one person's talking and everybody else is either listening or nodding off.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I found this a lot. And I know when we work together in transportation, is that learner to learner engagement isn't utilized, and it's like I ask people like, why aren't we utilizing this? And they're afraid of what the learners are going to say. But ultimately, Brian, don't we want to hear those things? Because you can use those to further your knowledge and your understanding and where you're at today.
Yeah, I mean, why really? Why would anybody be afraid about what a learner has to say to a learner, a peer to a peer? Now, clearly, you're not going to put somebody you don't know in that position. There's going to be a
Right.
level of trust. But when you ask, for example, a frontline employee or frontline supervisor, would
Mhm.
you conduct this training?
Mhm.
You're expressing a lot of trust in that person. And I think that means a lot to a lot of people because you've got to, at least in my opinion, a lot of the people that I think you and I are talking about have
Mhm.
never had that voice in any other company
Mhm.
they've worked at. So you allow them to express their voice,
Mhm.
and that means a lot.
Exactly. Who doesn't want to be heard? We all want to be heard, right? We all want to be positively listened to as well. Hmm.
We do, Gina, but I think, and maybe I'm being a little cynical, but sometimes people in the executive room, people in the
Hmm.
boardroom, sometimes we think we're the
Hmm.
smartest guys in the room,
Hmm.
and I mean, it's just not true. I can go from example to example to example of
Yeah.
where if because we listened to our drivers and our mechanics, we became a better company. A great example, again, going back to Jetco, is our chassis pool. As opposed to using outside chassis, which have a lot of concerns there, the driver said, "Why don't we buy a few, see how it goes?" He kind of laid out the business case, and it was a home run. I think by the time I left, we probably had, I don't know, 500 chassis. But if it wasn't for listening, that idea wasn't going to come to me organically. Or if it was going to come years down the road.
Right, right. Wow, that's outstanding. When you talk about these experiences, Brian, has there been a particular time in your career? Gosh, I'm sure there's a lot of different examples, but maybe something that you learned that changed the way you thought, or maybe there was something that you encountered that moved you forward in a different direction and it really kind of changed the way you thought about what you were thinking and learning in the first place.
Couple things. First of all, just tactically, just read anything by Pat Lencioni if you're running a business or leading a business, especially his book called The Advantage. That book will sort of change how you think. But a little bit more personal. I mean, I grew up. My parents both ran retail shops.
Oh, okay.
And so I was working there.
Wow.
Since maybe 7 years old, right? Don't tell child labor laws, but I was loving it. I saw how my parents interacted with their employees, how you treat your people, and that lesson carried with me everywhere I've gone. Because fundamentally, if you're strong on the inside, nobody's going to beat you on the outside. But if you're treating your employees poorly or morale is bad, good luck with customer service. Ain't going to happen. So I guess, like in business, the lesson that has always stuck with me is that if you focus on the core, your internal strength, a lot of other things fall in place. Now, it's not automatic. You're going to have challenges. Vince Lombardi once said, it's not whether or not you get knocked down, it's whether you get back up. So you got to get back up. But if you stay true to your North Star, and for me, that North Star is internal strength, the core of the organization. And it took me a little while to kind of learn that and operationalize it.
Absolutely. I just did a post yesterday, Brian, about experience that I had. My department chair had told me in my PhD program that I wouldn't amount to anything, and you think about that impact statement. Is that supposed to inspire you when you tell people your top performers of the university that they're not going to amount? You don't tell your people those things, right? That's not how to inspire.
No. And that's a good lesson in building resilience, because there's always going to be people like that lovely person you just described that will knock you down. You're going to have detractors. And, when you do slip and fall, those naysayers will take joy in that, but the heck with them. I mean, it's because they haven't accomplished anything themselves, or they've got whatever personal issues they have, God bless, but you can't let those people get in the way of your own self-confidence. It's about building resilience. And
absolutely,
especially early on at Jetco, when we would have adversity, either business conditions were bad or customer problems, I don't know if I handled it as well personally, but I realized you've got to build that resilience and figure out how to get back up.
Absolutely. You have to have that mind of a champion. So Brian, I know that there's probably lots of opportunity or examples, but maybe in your career, or maybe someone else's career, there was an obstacle that you had to overcome, maybe a hurdle or something maybe you didn't think that was even possible that you had to overcome, or maybe you helped someone overcome the impossible themselves. Do you have any examples of your life where maybe you had a hurdle like I did with someone saying something like that to you? And then what did you do to kind of come out of that?
I think that in terms of helping people overcome obstacles, my focus has always been primarily on, again, on frontline employees, because a lot of people in that position have been told for a long time, well, you're not going to progress beyond where you're at. So nothing makes me happier and giving
Gosh.
people career paths.
Mhm.
And I can give you story after story, whether they've gone into sales or they've stayed in operations and continually accepted progressively more responsibility and with that, compensation. Um, Developing career paths for people where maybe, over the course of their life, they haven't been as, I guess, fortunate as me to, go
Mhm.
through college and grad school and all that. So I've really, that's been my passion, is kind of
Mhm.
trying to empathize, understand, and then make sure that people knew I believed in them, and
Mhm.
that, sometimes some days there was tough love, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you really engender a lot of loyalty. You learn from people. They make you and your business
Mhm.
better. For me, the hurdles always are. I was saying before how the word retire will never happen. It's reinvent. So everywhere you
Mhm.
go in a new company, some people will, or industry, some people will accept you, and some will say, "Well, you didn't come from this industry. What could you
Mhm.
possibly know?" Even,
Mhm.
I mean, like even when I bought my own company, right? The employees when I bought the company, they didn't say, "Oh, well, now he's the owner, therefore we respect him." It doesn't work that way. You have to earn the respect. So you've got a big
Mhm.
financial investment, a big risk, and so it's a challenge. Now I've got to win these people over. And the truth is, I don't know a heck of a lot about the business I just bought. So you have to establish that credibility, show humility, um, uh, show respect, but also show vision and direction. So when you say a hurdle, it's maybe it's a hurdle, maybe it's a challenge, but I
Mhm.
think transitioning through so many different businesses, because that's what I've wanted to do with my career. eh, the benefit is you just see this broad horizon, but I mean, everywhere you go, you've got to re-earn that respect and
Mhm.
earn your keep.
Yeah, exactly. Reinventing yourself. That's a really unique and interesting way of putting it and thinking about it as you progress through either your own career or beyond your career. And so, Brian, many times people will reach out to me after the podcast and they'll tell me that they've lost their passion. They're kind of in a place where they've lost their passion to learn and they don't even know where to even start again to begin learning. And what would you say to that person that reaches out to me or reaches out to you and says, "Look, I've lost my passion." What would you say to them? What would you recommend to them?
Well, first of all, I would say that it happens. It's natural. You can lose self-confidence for a lot of reasons. I mean, work issues spill over into personal issues spill over into work. But then what I would say is that the only person that can reignite that passion is you.
Mhm.
So, sometimes it's having conversations with loved ones or coworkers, and quite frankly, sometimes we got that stigma, the stigma of getting help, getting professional help. If it's at
Mhm.
that point, that's the best thing you could do for yourself. Um, Sometimes maybe you've hit a dead end at your job,
Mhm.
and so maybe it's time to kind of get out of that comfort zone. There's all sorts of things, but fortunately and unfortunately, however you look at it, the only person that can reignite your passion is you. So you've got to kind of take a step back, maybe take a little time off, put together your own
Mhm.
business plan, right? What's going right? What's going wrong? And then develop the plan. And when you develop the plan, understand that it's not going to be overnight. It might be two
Mhm.
steps forward, one back. That's okay, but you got to control it. Nobody else is going to pull you out of it. You might have loved ones that will be there cheering you on, coaching you, helping you, but
Mhm.
you got to take control of it.
I love that. Take control of it. There's no genie in a bottle gonna appear. It's just not gonna happen. There's no magic. It's your mind that really controls the outcome of your happiness. And I love what you said about it's okay to ask for help because think about the most professional athlete. I mean, think about Tiger Woods. Think about any athlete, anyone out there has a coach. People pay a lot of money to have really good coach. Even people who are really successful have coaches. You have business coaches, you have running. I have a running coach. It's like everyone needs a coach, everyone needs a friend, and it can be anybody, right, Brian? You can reach out to people at your organization. What would you recommend in terms of finding a coach or someone that you could collaborate with?
Yeah, it's situational. I mean, you sort of, if you're taking control of where you want to go, the kind of coach you need will become, or coaches you need will become evident to you. And it may be a peer at work, it may be a supervisor, a friend, somebody outside of work. There's very good people who do this for a living too. I know that comes with a fee, but but there are professional coaches.
Yeah.
So you have to sort of figure out what it is you need, because we may not need a baseball coach for my football game.
Yeah.
So we got to make sure we find the person that fits our needs, and the people that fit your needs may change from every couple of years, depending where you are in your career, where you are in your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Don't be afraid to make changes and pivot and move forward and know where you want to go and go for it. Thank you so much, Brian. I really appreciate you being here today. Tell everyone, leave us with some lasting thoughts or words today, and tell everyone where they can reach you or find more information out about your leadership and your thought leadership.
As we were talking, the pillow behind me, it was a reminder of Jimmy Buffett, who was my absolute
Oh,
favorite. I've probably seen him 50 times. And one of his quotes was, "It takes just as much time to see the good side as does to see the bad side." And I've used that quote to get me through those days when I'm just mad at the world. So you have a choice. You can look at everything's broken. You can look at the bad side, or you can look at the good side. And I think looking at the good side changes your mindset so that you can accomplish all the things that we spoke about today. As far as contacting me goes, people can connect with me on LinkedIn. My email is Brian, BRIAN, at Brian Fielkow. I think my name's up on the screen.com, Brian at BrianFielkow.com. And yeah, let's keep the conversation going, Gina. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. Thanks for leaving your legacy, and thank you for being here today.